Good evening, YouTube. This is Kayleen String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And as per request by the viewers last Sunday, I decided to go ahead and go for this MCW, which I got from foreignmre.com. Same place where I got the mug and the spork. So this is menu 9. It says rice and chicken Mexican style. These are all packed by the Warnick company. As far as I know, Warnick is the only company that does these MCWs. There is Chris in the house. Thanks for dropping in. And I see my view count has gone up to 2. So there are 2 people here. So I have a kettle of water on the stove, and I got my water for my cold drink. So I have my drinking jar for that. So I think this one has sparked a bit of interest among some people that have seen my post in a Facebook Ration group I'm in. Has the peelable seal. Now these bags are thick like the older MRE bags, so sometimes they can be a bit harder. So I'm actually just doing it off camera because I'm propping it up against my desk here, so I can get my thumb to kind of spread the plastic apart. So there we go, I got it open. Sometimes these peelable seals can fail, but this one did not. This one opened up. So time to see what we got in here. Got the sliced cranberries. These are not the osmotic kind. I can't stand the osmotic cranberries or raisins. A Mocha Dessert Bar. A cornbread, which took a bit of a hit because it is smashed. This is accessory kit, and it says MCW on it. Unlike the other one, which may say A, B, C, or whatever it happens to be. You have the spoon, which will get used for mixing the main once I put the water in. A tropical punch beverage powder. And I see Pat Middler is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This one requires 12 ounces of water, so I pulled the right bottle out of the fridge. And then the main. I fold this over to get it in. These are made by Mountain House. You can buy these singly either on eBay or even the Mountain House website has sold these. And I think you can find them on Amazon and other places that sell rations. So unlike the commercial Mountain House entrees, these do not have a resealable top, so that's where something like this little goodie will come in handy. And this usually, when this expands, it makes a ton of food. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up the accessory kit. See what kind of goodies we got in here. Coffee creamer. Hot sauce. May not want to focus on it, but ingredients are aged cayenne, red peppers, distilled vinegar, salt, and garlic. So they have this little goodie in here, but instead of using this, I have this Tabasco that I have used it out of a couple of times, so I'm going to use this instead of this little packet. And then so we got a wet wipe, sugar for the coffee, tan matches, got a rear roll, and peppermint gum, and this genial coffee. This is okay coffee. It's not the best. I see Angry Blacksmith is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. But I'll still drink it. And I am just going to stick all of the trash in here. And then after I put the water in here and mix it up, I'm going to put it in this Reflectix bag. Because that will help the heat in. And speaking of heat, my heater keeps going on and off, so so if you hear that, I hope that's not too much of a bother. And I had to rip the top of this packet twice because the tear notch sometimes is above the seal. And I see Dub C is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. See, there is no salt in this accessory pack. For one thing, it would not be needed with the main being as salty as it is. Creamer doesn't have a tear notch, so I'm gonna get the cheaters out for it. Oops, sorry about that. So I'm just moving aside those things which I won't be getting into. Now, these do not have a tear notch either, so I'm sure the soldier in the field probably just used a knife. Oop, I didn't get below the seal. Thought I did. So that is what the dry mix looks like. I'm opening up the spoon because I will need that to get inside here. 'Cause even that may not be long enough. I don't need those. So what I'm going to do, see, another thing about these, these do not have oxygen absorbers in there. And there is Rachel's sunshine in the house. Thanks for dropping in. See the chicken and the beans and all the spices and the rice. Unlike the commercial packs, these do not have oxygen absorbers. So you don't have to worry about trying to dig that out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go get the kettle. I'm going to pour the water in here. And what I usually do is I kind of do what some of the others do. I don't try to accurately measure. I just fill it up to where it covers the food and then mix it. And if I need to add a little more, then I throw a little more in. And of course, I'll have the water for the coffee. And because this will need some time to sit, I'm not going to do the drink first. I will do that after. Basically, give me something to do while I wait for this to rehydrate. So I'll be right back. I'm going to pour this off camera so I don't give you a steam bath. These need a good thorough mixing because you don't want to have any dry bits at the end when you go to pour it out or to eat it. And this is going to take a little bit more water, so I will add some more in. Rice and beans will absorb a lot of water. I'm folding this over a couple of times. I'm going to put this clip on it. And then I'm going to put it inside this other bag. Fold the flap over, and I'm going to put that other clip on it. Just giving it a bit of a shake. And I will let that sit. Well, that will just be off to the side. I'll give my coffee a stir. And we'll put that back there. I'll go ahead and mix up my tropical punch. These are those, I call them shaker pouches because you can mix it in the pouch and shake it, but sometimes these can be a bit of a bother. But I tend not to do it. Now, if the powder is kind of sticky inside or clumpy, then I would mix it in the pouch. But these, I just go ahead and dump it into my drinking jar. It kind of looks like it'll be the color of the regular fruit punch. But it's not quite as red, as you can tell. It kind of reminds me of the color of smoked salmon, or those salmon pink HDR, the humanitarian daily ration bags. It kind of reminds me of that color, but a little darker. I'm going to check the chat while I'm mixing this. Rachel has got some stuff to deal with, so the fact that you're keeping at it, it's pretty darn good when you can keep positive about it and don't let it get to you. You rule the situation and don't let it rule you. Oops, sorry about that. Got a little foamy stuff on top, but I'll give that another mix later. So now that I got those mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and start opening some other things up. I wouldn't mind having tortillas with this. Let's see, here we can have there's a date code on these cranberries. This is 2017. So that's when these are packed. So I would say this is a 2017 or maybe 2018. Yep, 2017 on that. And 2017 on that, so. I'm opening up the cranberries. No oxygen absorber in there. Now it's time to check out this cornbread, which looks like it has taken a serious hit. That had the oxygen absorber in it. So it did get smashed. It smells really good. I'm going to go ahead and open up this Mocha Dessert Bar. I really like these. Well, that one was a fail. I could probably still get it out. That's what it looks like. So that is everything opened up. Get that back into view. I have that one thanks to DeCarlos Perry. He sent me that seafood chowder. I have had such a hard time trying to get it myself. So he said he had a spare and he just sent it to me. So that was very kind of him to do that. So we'll be getting into that one in a few weeks. I want to do a few more things ahead of it. So I may do that maybe, like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not sure yet, because I have an MRE. I have a Minotaur Trading Company Arctic Field Ration, and I have one more meal out of my big Russian box. So I may do that in between one of those last two that I mentioned. I'm not sure yet, but I will get to it fairly soon. And of course, I will also be at the end of the month or beginning of March, I will be putting in my next ration orders. No, these are cranberries. See, some of these look a little darker red than others. See, you can see how red that is. The raisins that are in rations are a whole lot darker. See this dark spot on this cranberry? They're either that dark or even darker, or they might look a little brown depending on the grape that was dehydrated to make the raisins. Yeah, these are basically craisins. And because these are not the osmotic cranberries, I like these a whole lot better. You get a better sense of the fruit without that weird treatment they do. I like the flavor better. They don't have that oily feeling. And whatever else they put in it, I don't like that flavor. But these, yeah, I definitely don't mind eating those. In fact, if I had some, I want to do this, I could take oatmeal. When I put hot water in the oatmeal, throw some of these in, let these plump up, add a little extra dimension to that oatmeal. So I'm going to break open this cornbread. So this is what it looks on the inside. And it just smells like a fresh cornbread. And it tastes like it too. Yeah, I know. I was watching that, and I was commenting in there that I don't like the osmotic raisins. And Sean doesn't either. He can't stand them things. I'm going to take a drink of my coffee. And like I said, this Genio coffee is okay. There are better ration coffees out there, and there are worse ones. I'm going to check on the main. See how it's coming along. It's kind of giving me that Spanish rice kind of vibe. But with more of a chili scent, more of a chili look. I just dropped a bean, so that's what a bean looks like. Yep, I'd say that's ready. I'm going to go ahead and dump this out. Now you can see this spoon is not long enough. I could have cut this down, but I don't care to be bothered with that. You can see how much these make when they're fully rehydrated. But that flavor is pretty darn good so far. Probably could have used a little bit more water in this, but then again, sometimes you want these things a little bit thick. Well, that finishes off the Tabasco. I just put the rest of it on there. Yep, this definitely needed that extra kick from the Tabasco. I see some new faces. Willie is in the house. Puppy Breath is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. And Justin is here. So for those just tuning in, this is Meal Cold Weather, Menu 9. Rice and chicken Mexican style. But instead of using that little tiny packet of hot sauce that was included, I wanted to go ahead and finish off that Tabasco. So this has pieces of chicken, it's got rice, and it's got beans. Bits of pepper. On its own, if you don't like all the spiciness, you could leave out the hot sauce. Yeah, I could have used a little bit more water in this, but I still have it here. I might try a little something. Purely an experiment, just to see. If that will help any. This is but still, this is another winner from Mountain House. The flavor is good. So, if I was someone operating in the field in the cold weather like what we got here in Iowa, yeah, I would definitely be happy to rip into this. I'm going to give my drink another mix, just to make sure that it's as good as it can be. Oh, someone asking about my tray. Yeah, this tray was purchased way back in 1983. My high school class was having a fundraiser Tupperware party so that we could have money to fund our senior class trip. And so back in 83, we had a Tupperware party, and I bought this tray plus a couple containers for my mom. And she had those containers for a long time. Well, since then, I had only taken this tray out a few times to picnics or other places where I had to bring my own my tableware. And then when I got into rations after I won that first MRE from Sticky Finger 745 back in 2017, I'd watched a few ration reviews, so I decided that I was going to go ahead and eat that one on camera, and I used this tray. And then it was the only tray that I used until I got the green one in 2019. So now I switched between them. So I either use this when I have a big main like this, or sometimes if I have a ration that doesn't have very many items, or if the main would be a dark one like this, and then the green one I use if the main is not so big, or if I have a lot of items to open up, or if the main is a light item, light in color, say like if it was a white sauce pasta or rice that's not color like this, then I would use that one. That green tray came with 2 little cups, but I very rarely use those because they don't hold a lot. But I might bring them out once in a while. I think this is crooked. There we go. I think that's a little better. Yeah, this tray has been ran through the dishwasher. This main part here has taken on a little bit of color because of all of these red and orange and yellow colored foods I'd put on it, but to me, I'm not too bothered with that. Some might be, but I figured, hey, it's from 1983. It's going to happen. Yep. Over time, many plastics may take on color. That's one reason why, if you put plastic containers in a microwave and it has a tomato-based food in it, you're going to get the color and it will stay. Yeah, this is actually more of I would call it a buttercream. See, you should be able to tell the difference between the true white of the bag. The lighting in here may not render color all that well. I got 2 different colored LED bulbs above me. As you can see, the true white of the bag compared to this. A couple of times I have seen these trays in a thrift store that I like to go into once in a while. I just didn't bother to buy them because I figured, I got one already. Now I have another tray that I use. And I have a third, it's a steel one. I gave the companion to it to an Iowa brother last year at the first Country Pepper Memorial Camp, since he was given a couple of MREs. He still hasn't eaten those, by the way. So I thought I would give him a tray just for the heck of it. And I happen to have that one behind me. It's round ones. 99 cents for each of these. And there are two of them there, so I bought both at a thrift store. So I have never used this one. Yeah, if you can, if you're interested in something like that, check out thrift stores because you never know what you'll find. One time I was in there, I saw a USGI mess kit, and it had the utensil set with it. Had another guy not bought it, I would have snagged it up, but he went for it, and I was thinking to myself, cool on you, dude. Good score. Yeah. I don't have a USGI mess kit. I have foreign ones and some of those, a Texport branded one that has a copper on the underside of the pan and what could be a lid or a plate. So I have used that one. I see Henry's in the house. Thanks for dropping in. You're looking at a 2017 Mule Cold Weather. I got from foreignemery.com. Yeah, Henry is new to the ration world, so I have subscribed to his channel. And he has a few videos up. So he was also sitting in on the Ration Museum stream for a bit. The drink is Tropical Punch. It tastes just like a Kool-Aid Tropical Punch type drink. It has a little bit more tart flavor than your typical fruit punch. There's James Ortiz in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'm chowing down on my Mexican style chicken and rice. Instead of using the little white packet of hot sauce, I put Tabasco on here to give it a little bit of a kick. Plus, I wanted to use that little bottle up. So this is the hot sauce that was in it. Rachel has been through a whole lot last year and into this year, so definitely could use some extra love and prayers and support. So this community has her back. It's a lesson to everyone who lives in an area where there is actual winter. Be careful when you go outside. Watch out for black ice. And if you don't have spikes or cleats on your shoes or boots, put them on if they're just not on there before you go out. Or if you don't have any, get some. You can order them online and have them shipped to you so you don't have to go to a store to try to find them. And I have a pair that I've used for the past few years that so far I had not had to put on this winter, but if I have to go out tomorrow, I will wear my boots, and I have those things on my boots. In fact, they stay there all the time. Unless I have to change a spike. And the pair that I have the ability to change the spikes on them in case I lose one or one breaks. Yeah, tomorrow, we got up to -7 today, -7 Fahrenheit here in Des Moines. And for those who do the Celsius thing, that would be equivalent to maybe somewhere between -21 and -22. And tomorrow, we won't get above zero either. We may get up to, like maybe -3, -4, something like that. And we are under a wind chill warning until noon tomorrow, basically the whole state. So this is the temperature right now. -9. In fact, this just updated. And there is Justin, so thanks for dropping in. Yeah, a lot of places are getting snow, and then parts of this big storm or another one are not dropping snow, but they're dropping ice. It could either be in the form of sleet or freezing rain. And even down in Texas, I saw a post from a Facebook friend down in Texas. She happened to be posting from Austin, and it's black ice down there. I mean, look where Austin is in Texas. They got black ice down there, and it's wreaking havoc with the traffic because people down there just are not used to it. They're not equipped to handle it. Oh, speaking of Jeep channels, another Iowan, Prepping Life, he used to have a channel called Jeep Things Outdoors. But he has changed over to Prepping Life, but he has his old Jeep Things picture as his profile picture. And he has a Jeep that he is zebra striped himself. So he likes to get old Jeeps and fix them up. On his off time when he's not at work. Yeah, I watch a lot of those too, James. I don't do a lot of them myself, but I may pop an occasional gear review. Like I did an initial review of a pack that I used as a get-home bag, but then that one failed. And I did a video on that after I got a new pack to replace that. And so far, because I got a better quality pack, a 511, that one just seems to have a much higher quality construction to it. And that one is handling the load quite well. I did have to buy a water bottle pouch to add on to it because it didn't have a pocket for any side pockets for a water bottle, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, I do have a few nice ones. One of my favorites is obviously the most expensive knife that I have. That one was made by a guy whose YouTube channel is Jerry's Wood Shop and Outdoors, but he sells his knives through a site called Colorado Bushcraft. And it's a full tang knife. I have not yet taken it out on a trip because I got it after the memorial camp. Actually, I did take it, but I took it in June when I went camping with TAC from AOK Foraging and Adventures, but we didn't do a whole lot of real bushcraft type stuff. We were just there to camp and have fun, and it rained a lot the day we got there, and I have videos or pictures that I posted on Facebook of me sitting underneath the canopy, which we set up that she brought. I had a butterfly resting on my head. and it stayed there for almost an hour. That I guess a little grill smoke got to it and it took off. I don't have a proper sheath for it yet, but the one I got has red liners. As you can, but the wood on here, I put this piece of leather on here myself, but I really like the wood on this. And he hand sands. He doesn't have a mark, but he should. And it's a sharp 90-degree spine, so I could use the spine of the knife to scrape Maya dust off of a piece of fat wood, or I could rip sparks off of a ferro rod. So you can see it's pretty thick. So, yeah, I've been popping it through a few pieces of wood just here inside my apartment, but yeah, I really like it. I do hope to send it off to Will from GIT Preparedness Info. His channel used to be just called Just in Time Prepping, but he changed it slightly. But he does leather work, and he just lives in Nebraska, one state over. So to have a little side income to supplement his disability, he does leather work, and so I may send it off to him to have a sheath made for it, because I don't have a sheath for it. Right now, I just keep it inside of a loose-fitting cardboard sleeve with some duct tape around it. But and if I get it back in time from him, because I'll go ahead and do it next month as soon as I can, then I hope to get it back in time to take to round 2 of the Country Prepper Memorial Camp, because we're going to do another one the last weekend in March. But if I don't get it back in time, so what? I still have my Mora cans ball that I'll take with me. Well, that's very good, James, that you're able to get that kind of service. You know, some places just don't have access to that kind of thing. But speaking of Country Prepper, you know, there will be a return to Iowa Kydex production, because the host on whose property we do the memorial camps on, he actually bought all of the Kydex equipment and supplies from Jeremiah's widow after Jeremiah Jewell passed. So he has already completed a few unfinished pieces that Jeremiah had started and just didn't get to finish. You know, like finishing up things. And he's done a couple of tests sheathes himself on his own knives or his brother's knives or something like that. But he is going to get into making the Kydex stuff himself so that and the sale of that equipment to Steve Brahms, who also was another way to financially support Jeremiah's family. And last year I sold some of my Ranger beads that I make to raise money, and I ended up giving her 65. I sold $64 worth, but I just kicked in the extra dollar because I didn't want to bother trying to get change for that. So I just kicked in the extra dollar just because I wanted to. Chicago's in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Well, better late than never. Meal cold weather, menu 9. That's what I'm chowing down on. This cornbread is really good, even though it got a bit smashed. Would have been nice to have a little bit of butter and honey to go on it, but I'm still going to eat it just as is. It smells wonderful. And the flavor is just right on. Justin, especially if you go out in the woods or camping, or just to have in a survival kit, it's a good idea to have a fixed blade knife, because there are some times when a folder just won't cut it. And if you can get a full tang knife that's stronger than one of those that are called like rat tangs, like most Moras except for the Garberg, which is a full tang knife, where the steel part goes from end to end, just like the one that I showed you. Now, my Mora Cansbow is, they call that a rat tang because the metal of it inside the handle doesn't go all the way to the butt end of the handle. Yep. See, you can see it goes all the way from tip, one solid piece, and some of the survival knives out there have an exposed part of it back here that's not covered by the handle material, and you can use that in case you need to, say, break glass to get out of your vehicle if you can't open the door to escape it. Or you just need to crush open some nuts. You could use it to crush open some nuts. So if you had a walnut or pecan that was in the shell. So, for instance, the Mora Garberg has that little bit of metal sticking out past the end of the handle scales. And it has a lanyard hole in it, so you can put a lanyard on it like I did mine. Yeah. Yeah, the heat, Jerry does a really good job with his heat treat on his knives. I've actually done a little bit of light batoning with mine. I don't have any huge pieces of wood inside here. I just basically ran it down a few thinner sticks just to see how it does. But yeah, it's, from what little I've done with it, it's done pretty well. I'm just looking forward to being able to actually do some more stuff with it out in the woods. But because I don't drive, I don't get to go out camping a lot. It would be nice if I had easier access to a property where I could go and practice my skills more. But I live in the middle of the city, and I use public transportation. But on those few occasions where I can go out with a driver, I do really enjoy it. And at the memorial camp last year, I actually got to use a hammock for the first time. Yeah, it can be hard, but it can be done. A lot of state and county parks that have campgrounds have designated and designed campsites for disabled people to use. They're close to the bathrooms, and the bathrooms will have wheelchair accessible stalls for the toilets and the showers. And a lot of times there will be electric hookups so that if someone has to use electric medical device such as a CPAP or some other thing, or they use something that runs on batteries but has to be frequently charged, then having those hookups can be a whole lot easier, and it would give those people the chance to actually get out for a while. And there are also summer camps that either are specifically designed for disabled people, or they have a week session designated for disabled people. And when I was in high school, I volunteered at the YMCA camp outside of Boone, Iowa. In fact, my whole family did that, and we actually lived on the camp property. So we had a week for deaf kids, we had a week for diabetics, and we had a week for kids who have mobility issues, either because of cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, or other issues like that. And so we would make accommodations if the buildings were not already accommodating, or we would make certain changes to, for instance, for the diabetic, we would make changes to the food that we served, and we would provide measuring cups for portioning. And there would be extra medical staff on site that would come in for those particular weeks. Yep, there are some camps who do weeks for blind children and or adults. And then there are some places like the Easter Seals, Camp Sunnyside here in Iowa, where they would accept kids with all kinds of disabilities, deaf, mobility impaired, sight impaired, or who have multiple disabilities, like a kid might use a wheelchair and be deaf, or might be totally blind but have to use a walker. And of course, assistance animals would be accepted and accommodated if those people chose to bring them or had them. So I enjoyed volunteering for the camp. Sometimes I would be in the kitchen, sometimes I would be doing the crafts, and we would have a show that we would put on once a week. And the first week before any kids came at the YMCA camp, we would all put together the stuff needed for the theme of the year. For instance, one year we had a medieval theme where we would literally take inspiration from movies like Ivanhoe, Camelot, and we would make costumes, do some set painting, or we would do like a cowboy theme or something like that. And we would also tailor the jokes that were used in the show for the specific weeks. Like we would do diabetic jokes. We would do, appropriately tailored jokes that would be funny but not insulting or derogatory. Just to change it up a bit. And by the time the summer was done, that would go like 10 or 11 weeks. We would do these shows every week. It's the same to us, but it's different to the campers who come. And then we also had a family camp week, so we would do a little extra stuff for that. Actually, I did get a mystery box, and the MRE that I have coming up came out of that mystery box. And someone on Facebook asked if I got a prize out of it. I said, no, these mystery boxes didn't have prizes in it, but I didn't care because I got for the goodies. Same with the Foreign MRE mystery box that I also got. I got all kinds of goodies in it, and when I start doing my ration mashups, those items will all come together in the meals that I will create from all those items. Yeah, this is a Mocha Dessert Bar. I'll go ahead and break it in half. It basically looks like a dense fudge. It's dense, but it's creamy. And it tastes like a dark chocolate. You get that hint of the coffee. There's also a peanut butter dessert bar, and that tastes like a peanut butter fudge, and it has bits of peanut in it. So you get that different texture. And then there's the banana nut, the chocolate banana nut dessert bar. So it's kind of like this, but you have bits of banana flavor, and you have whatever nut they use. I think it's walnut. So it has a little bit more crunch than this does. But because this one is mocha, it has that bit of coffee flavor. I love the First Strike bars, the chocolate, the mocha, and the cranberry raspberry. The apple cinnamon one, that's my least favorite, but I'll still eat them. Oh, Mila is either sleeping on my bed or in the cubes that I keep in here. Oh, she's on the bed. She comes out when she wants. Mila is 17 years old. I've had her since she was 5 weeks. First weekend of November of 2004 is when I got her. Well, Maine Coon, that's a lot of cat. Mila never got real big. She was the runt of her litter. And the woman I got her from was told by her landlord that she had to cut down on her cat number. So I told her where I had just moved, and I told her before the move that where I'm going, I will only be allowed one cat. So this is the girl she brought me. So I had been there 1 week, and or not quite a whole week, and she came to me, and someone had, not the woman I got her from, but someone else had put Frontline on Mila when she was only 3 weeks old, and you just don't do that to a cat that young. So I got her treated for that. I got her treated for a respiratory infection, and she's pretty much been trouble-free ever since. But she never would take a collar, so she's never had one. And sometimes she can be a talker. Right, and I've only used that kind of a treatment, I think twice on her. But ever since then, just never bothered. I figure, she's an inside cat. She doesn't need that. So I decided I don't need to bother with paying the expense for that. And Mila, I chose the name because I gave the birds that I had Polish names. I'm Polish, so I wanted to give her a Polish name, so I got out my Polish dictionary and I was just flipping through it. And I saw the word Mila. I read the translation. I thought, oh yeah, that's it. Mila means cute or pretty. Oh, not cool, James. I hope you gave that skunk an eviction notice. Yeah. Plus, I like to be different. I just didn't want to have your typical cat names. And Mila started taking to that name pretty much right away. There are a couple of YouTubers who have dogs, and they just name their dogs Dog. And now the relatives or friends think that's kind of weird, but it is what it is. Either they just couldn't come up with a name, or they just kept changing it, or they just kept addressing their dog as Dog, and just kind of stuck. One of my former clients, when I was a home health aide, he kind of went by two names, either Mr. Kitty or Big Kitty. And the last time I saw him, he was 26 years old. And that's the oldest cat I ever knew of. He was a gorgeous cat. He had a full skim milk white coat, medium hair, I would say. He ate good, he drank good. Didn't always make it to the litter box, but hey, you can't fault an old guy. And he was a per box and a half. Give him a good ear scratch, he'll just want to keep loving on you. And he had a pretty loud purr too. Mila, when she does purr, it's really, really soft. I can barely hear her. But this client also had an 8-year-old cat, a tortoise shell. Her name was Chloe. And then I had another client who had a similar looking cat, female cat. Her name is Chloe. Pretty much the same age. They lived in different parts of the city, but they had similar cats, the same name, similar age. That's one of the perks of that job that I had, was when I had clients with pets. I had to sneak in a little loving on them. The one client who had the 26-year-old cat, she had 2 red poodles. And they were a true red. Well, more like a copper, I would say copper penny. And they were really good dogs. One I gave a bath. I got a bath in the process, but I didn't care. And then one of my former clients had cats, and she would put cute little shirts on them. Now, her cats tolerated that because she would do that when they were kittens, so that they would get used to it. And plus, in her apartment, I think it kind of helped keep them a little bit warmer in the winter. I didn't think that Mila would purr at all, but then sometimes, and I'll be in bed, she would come up right to my head, and she'll be rubbing on my hand, and of course I'll be giving her ear scratches and rubbing her in her head, and she would purr very, very softly. So she does, just not all the time. She's not a lap cat. She prefers to just do her own thing, which I don't mind. But she also does a yawning meow, which I think is funny. Nope. And that's actually the right thing to do, Pete, because when they have their tag on, or whatever their human uses to put on them to indicate that they are a service dog, they're basically on the clock, so to speak. Now, the person with the service dog may choose to let another person pet the dog, especially, if they're just taking a break from their walk or whatever. Or sometimes they might let little kids pet the dog, but I always tell them that the dog is actually doing a job. And that's the way I am with with anyone that I run into who has a service dog. I usually just let the dog do the job it was meant to do. But there was one guy I used to go to school with who was blind, and sometimes he would let me pet his guide dogs, the two that I had seen him have. After the one retired from getting old, then he got another service dog, but he just kept the retired dog just as a pet. After so many years, the dogs would get old, and they would have to retire and not have to worry about being on the clock. Service dogs are allowed by law to ride in any public transportation vehicle, go into nearly all buildings unless it would be unsafe for the dog. Which that would be a rare occurrence. And service dogs are supposed to be allowed in housing where a pet would normally not be allowed, although there may be landlords or property managers who may try to fight that. But as long as you got the proper documentation, you would win. Yeah, when I was in Chicago for a few days in 2012, I rode the L quite a few times, sometimes 4 or 5 times a day because of what I was doing, and I was going to different parts of the city. I would need to take 4 or 5 trains in a day, and I would see the occasional service dog. Yep. Yeah, I see service dogs going into grocery stores or Walgreens. And personally, I think the staff get a kick out of seeing those dogs come in because, it's a little something different. I think it kind of gives them a little reason to smile. Just like when you see a cute baby. Nope, I've seen service dogs in Walmart on a rare occasion. I haven't seen them in Sam's Club though, but I have seen them in Walmart. And most of the time they're guide dogs. But occasionally you'll run into a person who uses a wheelchair accompanied by a dog who would pick up things off the ground or open a door, close a door. In fact, years ago I was watching when I had a TV, I was watching some show where a dog was actually taking cash into the store to pay for gas. And that was just too dang cute. Yep, they can be trained to detect things like that. Or, for instance, if someone with Parkinson's or some other disease like that may be walking, but then their body would start to freeze. Then this one Great Dane I saw a video on also years ago, that dog would put his paw on the guy's foot, and then feeling that sensation would kind of actually get that person to loosen up and just resume walking. And there are also dogs for the deaf who would alert on sounds. A dog would go to the sound, hear it, and then come to the owner, take a pose, and try to get the person to go to the source of the sound. And then, of course, you have your other therapy dogs. They work in nursing homes or rehab centers or even go into hospitals to be like an emotional support animal to kind of lift the spirits of the patient. There is DeCarlos, the awesome guy who sent me that MCW seafood chowder. So again, I want to thank him for sending that to me. That one will be coming up in a few weeks. That was very awesome of you to send that. Since I had posted on Facebook that I have wanted to try that one, but I just could not score. But he came through and he did it. So I still have your address. One of these days I might find a little something, maybe put together a little package. I also want to create some little goodie packages for some others. I've done some trading with Aletha, who lives in eastern Iowa. Sometimes she has to come here to Des Moines to take care of some things, and we'll meet up. And that's how I got a couple of MREs, including the chicken and tomato feta from 2012. That menu did not have a long time in the lineup. I guess a lot of people didn't like it, but I sure did. But she gave me that Swedish military cup, and I had given her some things. And she also gave me that white gas powered Coleman stove. MCWs, that can be hit or miss. Foreign Emery might have a few left. I don't know. You can try there. You can try, I think Emery Mountain might have some. And of course, you can look on eBay. I'm not sure if all MREs would have any, but that's a bummer. But sometimes you might score at surplus stores, or Alaska Prepper. He saw a post on Craigslist, a guy who had a bunch of cases, and so he bought them. He made a couple of different trips, but he bought up a bunch of MCWs up in Alaska, and he field stripped them, and he divided up all of the components into different bins, and those have become part of his food storage. Because when you break them down and divide up all the components and get rid of these bulky bags, they take up a lot less space. And so that's how he did that. That's nuts. I could buy 4 cases of halal MREs for that much. That is just highway robbery. You shouldn't have to pay over maybe $100 for an MCW case. There is Cloud in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Yep. I do this because I do it live. It works that way when Old Smokey does his streams on Saturday nights. He does it the same way. And just sorry about that. I got briefly disconnected. It gives a chance to just interact with the viewers. That's what I like about live streaming. Plus, because my computer is dead, pretty much, all I can do is use it as a humongous charging station. I haven't been able to get it fixed yet because I would need a real tech head to figure out why it won't boot up or restore. There is Will, JIT Preparedness Info. Thanks for dropping in. All I have left is my coffee, my fruit punch, and a little bit of this Mocha Dessert Bar. So everything else is gone. So this was my dinner tonight. Meal cold weather. This menu 9, 2017. And instead of using the little hot sauce packet that was in there, I decided to finish off this little Tabasco. Now, the peanut butter dessert bar is basically like a peanut butter fudge. So that is a good one too. I like the banana nut one. Although I would like just a little bit more banana flavor in it. Oh, I will keep this going. I do these live streams every Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. That would be 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Left Coast, and I think it would be 4 p.m. Alaska. I don't know how far back Hawaii is. I don't know what Hawaii's time zone is. But and yeah, Alaska time where Alaska Prepper is, and a couple other Alaska channels that I watch, like Alaska Granny and some others. So at least that part of Alaska is one time zone west of Pacific time. Well, I suppose it would depend on if it's something that you don't like or you can't eat. You know, there are some people who cannot eat cheese. You know, there's a woman in England eats treats and MREs. She does not eat cheese, yet she can have items that have milk in it or milk powder in it, but actual cheese, she has to stay away from that. So what she does with those items, she trades them off with other YouTubers or just some of her subscribers. You know, she's done some trading with Jack of Trades and Tracy Phillips. But these little bottles, I have an empty one of the original Tabasco bottles that used to be in the US MREs. And this is the newer style. The older style did not have all this red around the center white diamond here. it would have been clear so you could see more through the bottle. But it still has this grain around the neck. And the cap is still the same. But I wanted to finish this off because I've used it 2 other times. The first time I used it on camera, and then the next time I just added it to something I was eating in the middle of the week. And then I wanted to finish it off tonight. That's Southern Ohio prepping. He is getting ready for a move, hopefully to much better digs. That'll be more suitable for his needs. Too bad some of us were not closer, otherwise you could have your whole moving gang right there ready to help. But knowing you'll get it done. Yep, that was my dinner. It was a good one. Even though I didn't quite put enough water in it, I could have used another shot. I still enjoyed it. And although the flavor was good on its own, I still wanted to give it just a little bit of a kick. I have a few bottles of the Hot Diggity Dog that I got in some British rations. I have not yet cracked any of those yet. Maybe one of these days I'll pop one of those open. Go check his videos out. In fact, I might be doing that later. I haven't checked out his most recent uploads. Been watching other stuff, but yeah, the Hot Diggity Dog is apparently like 3 times as potent as this. But it's supposed to have a good flavor, though. Yeah, I like a hot sauce that has flavor. And speaking of hot sauce, Dave's 45 Auto does what he calls a heat check on his channel. So every week he has been doing a tasting of a different hot sauce that he will pick up or that someone has sent to him. So he has been trying out different hot sauces. Some that he's able to find in different stores in his area, or people have sent him hot sauces, or he would order them online if he hears some noise about a certain sauce that piques his interest. And then he also does what he calls a Monday morning coffee break, where he will do a review of a different coffee. And he has his midweek snack, which he puts up different snack items that he gets. Some unusual, some more common, but maybe different flavors that he hasn't had before, different forms that he hasn't had before. So he's been mixing up his content besides just doing ration reviews and hiking food reviews. And ones that I reviewed, like the G7 or Taster's Choice, or I don't know, yeah, the G7 3-in-1. Yeah, those are awesome. I have a bag of 20 packets that I haven't gotten into. But I'm saving that for camping trips. I have some of those Folgers filters that look like a tea bag, but it's got coffee in it. I'm still using those. So when I finish those up, then I'll just start throwing in those G7s in my camping food bag. Yeah, I found this particular one that I have in an ethnic Asian store. And I think I probably paid about maybe like around $8 for that, give or take a cent or three. Yeah, there is no tax on things like that here. You know, the only consumable items that are taxed here in Iowa are gums, candies, sodas, energy drinks, and alcohols, and I think water is taxed. But other than that, any other consumable food or drink item is not taxed. So I could go into a store, pick up a box of those like Hawaiian Punch drink packets, or some other drink packets like that, or I go into a Walmart and buy a packet of their drink packets and not pay tax on it. So that's how it works here in Iowa. But for any drink that is in a carbonated format, like sodas, beers, wines, energy drinks that are carbonated, kombucha, because that's carbonated, you take the bottle or can back to a store, you can get 5 cents for turning that in. Or if you buy a certain brand of milk in a glass jar, you take that jar back after you clean it out back to the store, you get $3. And then those jugs get taken back to the dairy that does that milk, and they get recycled. You know, they get sterilized, filled, recapped, and sent back out again. I haven't bought any of that milk lately because, you know, I'm trying to get what I can on the cheap, you know, making the most of the money that I spend on food. So I've been doing a lot of prep shopping lately, as you can tell by my monthly hauls that I've been doing. I would buy some stuff for what I call daily use, and then stuff to go into longer term storage. So that's pretty much how I've been doing my food shopping, because I want to have a good supply on hand just in case things go south and I may not be able to get to a grocery store, or if I'm in a position where I could help someone out with a little bit. So for instance, if my sisters lose their jobs, then they could go to a food pantry to get something. Then I would tell them that, because I build up a stockpile, if you need a little something, I'll give you a little. Well, that's okay. I'm over 2 hours here, so I'm probably going to button this up anyway, since I ate everything. Yeah, I just have my tropical fruit punch and my coffee left. But this is definitely a good one. So I would definitely recommend this menu. If you can get this MCW, go for it. And you can have a little fun with it. You could, if you had some tortillas, you could put it in the tortillas and eat it like a burrito or a wrap. Or if you had a humongous tortilla, you could put it into a bowl and dump it right out of the pouch into that tortilla bowl and eat it like that. That could be a couple of ways you could have a little fun with it. But definitely recommend this menu. Not quite up there with the chili mac or the spaghetti, but still very good. And I expect no less from the seafood chowder when I get into that, because I like stuff like that. But I do want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging out and chatting with me. And thanks to those who came in here for the first time. I do this 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern, every Sunday, unless I announce otherwise, if I'm going to be on a trip or just getting back, or if for some reason I'm not able to go live, then obviously I won't. But if I on those times where I may not be going live, I'll do that. But every Sunday, 1 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, I'll be getting into that MRE that I got in the Minotaur Mystery Box next week. So come back for that. And then next week I'll probably go into the Russian box, or I may choose to go into the Russian box next week. I haven't decided yet which one I'll do, but I'll probably go for either one of those. The last vegetarian meal out of that big Russian box. And I've been saving that entree for last, because I think I'm going to like it the most. But, so, whatever I do, I'll post it up on the community tab on my channel page. And for those that follow me in the Ration group that I'm in on Facebook, I'll post it there, what I'll be doing. But if you're not in that group, that's okay, because I do post it up every time I, for every weekend. So stay tuned for that. And again, thanks for those who are coming to the Ration Museum streams. And next weekend will be a good one. And thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.